Hi everybody, Stephen Aitchison here with a very late 30 Days of Change. Today we're on day 21 of 30 Days of Change, and I want to ask you 6 questions that could change your life. And really these 6 questions about kind of finding your life's purpose, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I want this to be an interactive session. So usually what I do is I kind of have a set topic that I'm going to talk about for the day. But today I wanted to be a little bit more interactive, whereby you're going to be kind of answering questions as I'm asking the questions as well. So really what today is about is thinking about what you want to do with your life, thinking about what's going to make you happy, and thinking about your dreams and goals for your life as well. But I want you to, if you've got a pen and pad, I'd love for you to write these questions down, or you can watch the video after. You can watch the recording of this after it's finished live, and just kind of think about the questions, because these kind of questions are going to really help you think about your life and where you're going in your life as well. Because good questions can change your life, but bad answers can actually ruin your life. So if you think about it that way, you've got to ask yourself good questions all the time. And good questions are really those questions that are kind of looking forward. They give you energy, they give you something to look forward to, and they make you think about things as well. Bad questions, for example, would be, why does it always rain on me? Why does shit always happen to me? That's a bad question, because your brain has nowhere to go, your subconscious mind has nowhere to go with it, and it'll just tell you why everything bad happens to you, and it'll give you all the wrong answers. But if you add good questions, like, how can I make my life better? Or what one thing could I do to make my life better? That's a good question. It's forward thinking, it gets you motivated, it's got energy in it. So you've got to think about these type of questions as well. So that's what I want to ask you today. 6 different types, or 6 different questions, and you're going to interact with me just now and give, some of you are going to give answers, some of you are going to be thinking about it and maybe not give answers just now. So Mrs. Cool, excellent, says Chai Kim. Palma Joyce and Rose, good morning to you. So there's people from all over the world. We've got 1,500 viewers just now, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for coming on. If you like this video, if you think it's going to be useful, just leave a comment, just say hi, where you're from. That would be excellent. And even better, just share it with your friends, your family, or on your page as well. That'd be amazing. So we're going to kick off with the 6 questions. And this is going to be an interactive session. So remember, and answer the questions as we go along, but think about them first and then try and answer them, see what comes up naturally to you first of all. So it's your first kind of instinct and it's your intuitive reply to these questions that will give you some idea of where you're heading. So the first question, and some of these are a bit strange, what makes you forget the world around you? So when you're involved in something, what is that one thing that everything else kind of goes out of your mind and you get totally focused and you've got loads of energy for it and you love doing it? So that is the first question I'm going to ask you. And there's reasons to these questions, I'll tell you at the end of the questions. But the first question is, what makes you forget the world around you? So we'll just wait on a couple of replies. And Sherry BM has you've got a vet appointment. I hope everything's okay, Sherry. Darlene Dawn says music makes her forget. Sherry, art and gardening, that's really good as well, says the music. Music as well, says Tina Smith. Excellent. Your family does, that's Holly Ann Luke Woodward. Your grandkids, Margaret Hayes. When you go running, walking on the beach, says Liz, and Lisa Perry says when she goes running. Excellent. Rita Barwist says by wandering. Music, so there's a lot of people do music. Hiking, says Lorena, or Lorena, is it Lorena Melgar? Working with my hands, something I have to focus on. So a lot of people have got something that makes them forget the world around them, and that's a good thing. And the thing about getting involved in something like that, whether it be hiking, whether it be gardening, or listening to music, or doing art, exercise, says Tamerlane Gonzalez. Going for a walk. Excellent, we've got Eva on. Eva, how you doing? I managed to catch you. Yeah, so if you've got something that makes you forget the world around you, you've got to understand that that is something you've got to cherish. So when you do this on a regular basis, what it does is it calms you down. It releases kind of all these kind of hormones into your body that will just make you calm and relaxed and forget the world around you. And you need to do that kind of, even if you can do it once a day. Meditation is for me, reading for me as well, spending time with my wife as well. That just makes me forget the world around me. And when I'm in there, I'm in the zone, I'm in the moment, and I'm just relaxing. And you get all these hormones that just make you very, very relaxed. But if you're only doing that thing that you love doing and makes you forget the world once a week or once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks, it's not going to do your kind of stress levels that good. And you're always going to be up to high door thinking about things that maybe you shouldn't be thinking about, or you start worrying about things. But if you've got something that makes you forget the world, that is a brilliant thing to have. And Cleo Chow, spending time with friends. Elena Marie says music takes me to another world. Yep. Swimming, says some people. So everybody's got something, and if you can do that every day, that you can change your life so much if you do that something every day, even if it's for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, if you can spare that much time. So that's the first question. If you've not had time to answer here, or not had time to read it out, just write this down if you can, because this is going to get you thinking about things, and there's reasons for these questions. Number 2, what one thing could you do to get outside your comfort zone? What one thing could you do to get outside your comfort zone? Now that's a question you need to really think about, because you've got to know where your comfort zone is, and you've got to know what area it is. Marjorie Monteith, stand-up comedy. Big belly laugh. That's for the other question. So what one thing could you do to get outside your comfort zone? As I said, you probably need to know what your comfort zone is, or what kind of area of your life is pertaining to. So you've got to know kind of what scares you. So what scares you, and what one thing could you do to make that fear less of a fear? So if travelling scares you, for example, you make a plan to go on a trip. Just a small trip at first, and then it could be bigger and bigger trips. That's just an example. If speaking in public scares you, you do one thing that could help you speak in public, like speaking in front of your friends first of all, or do a live video feed like this on Facebook, just to get over that fear. And in the programme yourdigitalformula.com, I've asked so many people in the group just to say, listen, get over your fear, just go on Facebook Live. You don't need to know exactly the topic you're talking about. You don't need to rehearse it in your mind. You've just got to have a topic in mind. And once they get over that fear, it helps them so much. And there's so many people done that about public speaking. Christine Ferrier says, leaving the house. So you're agoraphobic. So Christine, what one thing could you do to overcome your agoraphobia? Now, an example of that, and I'm not saying you go out for a 3-mile walk outside your house. An example of that could just be standing at the front door of your house with the door open. That could be the first step in overcoming agoraphobia. And just staying there for 5 or 10 minutes. And then the next day what you could do is you open the front door again and you stay there for 15 minutes. And then the next day you do it for 20 minutes. And then the next day you actually step outside your front door and you just stay there for a minute and go back in. So you're reintroducing yourself into the world. This is just a specific example that Christine brought up for agoraphobia. So has anybody got anything else? Mary John's story saying shopping, that's your one fear. I don't know if that's pertaining to the first question. That's probably the first question. I don't think that's a fear. Deborah Skinner says stand up for myself. Deborah, again, what you can do there is just take it one step at a time. Before you go full blown and stand up for yourself and yeah, it's nothing like that. When you want to stand up for yourself in a situation, you do it one step at a time. So for example, when somebody asks you to do something, you just say, sorry, I'm really busy, I can't do that just now. So you're saying no, you're learning to accept your responsibility, to accept your space around you, and accept your time as well. And you're saying no to other things that you can't take on. So that's kind of standing up for yourself. That's one step. And then it could be another situation where you do the same again. So you're getting used to your own power. You're getting used to your own energy. And you've got to own your power as well. Because you do have power. But other people see your weaknesses and they can tap in on that. So they're using their power to tap into your weakness. And in actual fact, it gives them more power. But if you stand up for yourself, and kind of standing there, you stand up for yourself, you take that power away from them. So that's what it is. So practice one thing at a time, one thing you can do to overcome that fear and get outside your comfort zone. Because your comfort zone is the only place, and the only place, that you're going to grow as a person. And I mean that literally, you're only going to grow when you get outside your comfort zones. So if you're doing something every single day, you don't really grow as a person. But if you get outside your comfort zone and do something new, you're growing as a person. I hope that makes sense to you. Right, both. Rennie Patrick says change of routine. Again, just do small steps, Rennie. Very small steps. Just introduce one little change and then introduce another change, then another change, and then a bigger change. So it's good to do it in small steps. And then you're gradually getting outside your comfort zone. Other people might want to do it in one big chunk and just jump right into the new comfort zone. So that's the second question. That's something for you to think about as well. Third question. How are you going to save this topsy-turvy world we live in? Now that might sound like a strange question. How are you going to save the world? Everybody can save the world. You can save the world, I can save the world, but we're not going to do it with 7.5 billion people in the world at one time. But what we can do is save the world one person at a time, or help the world one person at a time. So think about the big question, how can you save the world? What can you bring to the world to help other people in the world? What's your skill? What's one skill that could help you save the world? And that's a big, huge question, but think about it. Ashley Davis says you can't, but you can. You can. Everybody can save the world. Lisa Clark says, I love helping people. One kind gesture at least once a day, and I missed that, who it was from. Janet Whalen. Excellent, Janet. You've got to save yourself first. Exactly. Of course you've got to save yourself first, but you can also save the world round about you as well. And that could be with animals, it could be with humans, it could be with plants, it could be with anything like that. How are you going to save this topsy-turvy world that we live in just now? And instead of relying on politicians to save the world, and they've just screwed up big time all over the world, how could you do one thing that could save the world? So it's a question to think about. Rahab says by mentoring, exactly. Be your own hero. Opening closed minds, Ashley Davis, excellent. Education, so there's a lot of good stuff coming in. Sheila Unger says love, light and energy daily, brilliant. Your smile, RM says, RM Alexander. And help people be kind to one another, that's saving the world. If you're kind to one person, then that one person goes on to be kind to another, and then that one person goes on to be kind to another. So it's got a domino effect. So you being kind to one person might help 200 people over the course of a week. Now you might not think that just now, but if you think about the bigger picture, you being kind to one person, and then they're being kind to somebody because you've been kind to them, and then they're being kind to somebody because they've been kind to them, and the domino effect goes on and on and on, and you're transferring that kind of kindness, that energy, that loving kindness. So you can save the world. I know that sounds a bit strange saying that, but just think about that question. What one thing could you do? Number 4. This is a kind of strange question as well, but I want you to think about this one as well, and they're all going somewhere. What would you do with your time if you weren't allowed in your house between 8 AM and 7 PM? And I don't mean work. So if you weren't allowed in your house between 8 AM and 7 PM, you didn't have to work and your children were being taken care of. So everything was being taken care of. You were just not allowed to go to your home between 8 AM and 7 PM. What would you do with your time? Okay, so just wait on answers coming in, because that sounds like a bit of a strange question. But what I'm trying to get you to do here is think about what you could be passionate about. Think about what you could love to do in your life or love to do more of in your life. Chloe Stewart says travel. Excellent. Dawn Marie Picosi says she would help the homeless. Volunteer with the mental ill, says Teresa. Brilliant. Moni Jahan, shopping from 8 AM till 7 PM. Does it say? Yeah, that's a lot of hours to shop. Sit in Green Woods, Barbara Clark. Hey Barbara, how you doing? Jenny Christie, oh missed that. Permaculture park tours, excellent, love that. Enjoy lifetime, says Bridget. Tasha Smith, ride a bike. Mally Armand, painting, baking, says Penny. Volunteer, says Dolly. Go hiking, says Chanel. Travel, says Zane. Excellent, so you've got something already. A lot of people have got something already that they would be able to kind of do something if they were locked out of the home between 8 AM and 7 PM. And that's what I want you to think about. Instead of kind of, because a lot of what we do is kind of lie around the house because we've been working or we've got kids or something, so we kind of spend our time kind of lying around the house and relaxing and watching crap TV. I'm not saying that's a bad thing because you have to get your downtime, but I want you to think about what you're passionate about. What comes up when you think about something, you go, oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that all day, every day. Or I'd love to do something different every day. And I've got these 5 things I'd love to do. I'd love to paint, I'd love to write, I'd love to ride a bike, I'd love to go walking, I'd love to go hill walking, hiking or something. Just something that you're passionate about. And what I'm trying to do is to reignite that passion within you, just so you do something. So you do something to get outside your comfort zone, so you do more of what you're passionate about. And then what comes from there is a dream. You just start to get ideas, you're buzzing with creativity when you're going out hiking or walking, for example, and you start to think about how you could change your life and how you could live your dream life as well. Number 5, so that's something to think about. Number 5 is, what is your dream? Do you have a dream? What if I say to you, what is your dream? So Robert, playing music and singing for the homeless. I think that pertaining to the previous question. Tracy Marlon, Turner, I'd love to write a book. Why are you not doing it? Why do you not write a book? What's stopping you writing a book? Deborah Skinner says, give children gardening skills. Loop says, take care of me. That's a good thing as well, that you need to take care of yourself first. Nicola Case, to be happy. Dahlia, more than 20 dreams. Working one dream at a time. One dream at a time. If you've got 20 dreams, you never get started with any of the dreams. If you've got one dream at a time, you do one dream, get that, achieve it, or go as far as you can with it, then go on to the next dream, then go on to the next dream. Because the 20 dreams at a time is like, you can't take a big chunk out of it. Where do you start from it? It's just a little bit too overwhelming. Renica says, start an animal shelter, to do more charity work, to invent and cook. To invent what, Sean? I'd love to know about that. Donna Adams Bowen, I've always wanted to write a book. You know, to start writing a book, you know, all you have to do is write the first word. One word at a time. When you start the first word, that will get you started with the first sentence. When you do the first sentence, you'll then probably go on to finish your first paragraph. When you finish your first paragraph, you'll then go on to finish your first page. Because when most people think about writing a book, they think about writing a whole book and they say, oh, Christ, I've got to write 100,000 words to get this book done. But if you've got an idea in your head and you've got the storyline plotted out and you've got the characters and all that plotted out as well, all you need to do is start with the first word, first line, first paragraph, and just think of it one line at a time or one paragraph at a time, and that's how you get started writing a book. And pretty soon, once you've got that kind of momentum going, it'll be a snowball effect. You'll start to get into the habit of writing a book. So that's how to get started writing a book, and that's just a specific example. So that was the 5th question for you to think about. What is your dream? And I want these kind of questions marinating around in your mind, so you know you've got a little bit of energy, you've got a little bit of passion. It's kind of reigniting the fire has been lit within your heart again. So the 6th question is, what one thing could you do right now Or within the next 4 hours, what one thing could you do to take one step towards your dream? What one thing could you do to take one step towards your dream? And it could be a tiny thing. So for example, if it's writing a book, write the first word. Or write the title of the book and put your name underneath it as the author. That's one thing you could do. That's taking a step in the right direction. And then you ask yourself again, what one thing could I do today? So if it's writing a book, you write the first paragraph. And then the next day, what one thing could I do today? You write the next paragraph. And then you start to build up that energy, that passion. You start writing more and more and more. And pretty soon you go, shit, I finished the book. And you go, hey, it's brilliant. So that's all you do. It's one step at a time. But what one thing could you do today? Austin Blake Marshall just booked Greyhound tickets for travelling. Excellent, Austin. That'd be brilliant. Eva Anderson, sponsor more people. What one thing could you do? June Chudka says, I started by listening to a video. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Leah Heifner, sobriety. So what one thing could you do for sobriety? One less drink. Then the next day is one less drink. Again, getting support from the likes of AA or people who can help you in your field. But AA is a really good thing as well if you're trying to get sober. And just one step at a time. Or in the AA they say one day at a time. Madeline Hall says get out of bed. First step out of bed. That's the first step to getting out of bed. Lola says dance. First step to that is dancing. Put some music on, dance. Dance like there's nobody there. Okay, so that's the 6 questions I want you to think about, and the reason I was asking those questions is to let it kind of marinate in your mind. And these are all questions that are forward thinking. They give you energy, they give you passion, they give you motivation. And that's what a good question does. It makes you think about the future, but it also gives you hope. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you energy, and it gives you a little bit of passion. It reignites that fire within your heart. And that's what a good question does. A crap question or a shit question is, why does shit always happen to me? That's bad questions to ask yourself. Stop asking these questions and ask beautiful questions like, how can I make my life better? What's the one thing I could do today to make my dream happen? And that's what I want you to think about. And with that, I'm going to say namaste.